I am continuing my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a bit as I move along. So we are continuing with Alma. What we read in our last video is the first part of chapter 46. And that was Amalickiah is now pressing to become king. He's been probably for a couple of years building a following and a conspiracy, and now he is pushing to be made king. And his people, his followers, are forming their own kind of coalition within the society to make him king. In response to this, Moroni raises the title of liberty, and all the people who value liberty are flocking to Moroni. That's where we left off. Now we're going to finish chapter 46. We pick it up in verse 28. And now it came to pass that when Moroni had said these words, he went forth, and also sent forth in all the parts of the land where there were dissensions, and gathered together all the people who were desirous to maintain their liberty, to stand against Amalickiah and those who had dissented, who were called Amalickiahites. And it came to pass that when Amalickiah saw that the people of Moroni were more numerous than the Amalickiahites, and he also saw that his people were doubtful concerning the justice of the cause in which they had undertaken, therefore, fearing that he should not gain the point, he took those of his people who would, and departed into the land of Nephi. Now Moroni thought it was not expedient that the Lamanites should have any more strength. Therefore he thought to cut off the people of Amalickiah, or to take them and bring them back, and put Amalickiah to death. Yea, for he knew that he would stir up the Lamanites to anger against them, and cause them to come to battle against them. And this he knew that Amalickiah would do, that he might obtain his purposes. Therefore Moroni thought it was expedient that he should take his armies, who had gathered themselves together, and armed themselves, and entered into a covenant to keep the peace. And it came to pass that he took his army, and marched out with his tents into the wilderness, to cut off the course of Amalickiah in the wilderness. And it came to pass that he did according to his desires, and marched forth into the wilderness, and headed the armies of Amalickiah. And it came to pass that Amalickiah fled with a small number of his men, and the remainder were delivered up into the hands of Moroni, and were taken back into the land of Zarahemla. Now Moroni, being a man who was appointed by the chief judges and the voice of the people, therefore he had power, according to his will, with the armies of the Nephites, to establish and to exercise authority over them. And it came to pass that whosoever of the Amalickiahites that would not enter into a covenant to support the cause of freedom, that they might maintain a free government, he caused to be put to death. And there were but few who denied the covenant of freedom. And it came to pass also that he caused the title of liberty to be hoisted upon every tower which was in all the land, which was possessed by the Nephites. And thus Moroni planted the standard of liberty among the Nephites. And they began to have peace again in the land, and thus they did maintain peace in the land until nearly the end of the 19th year of the reign of the judges. And Helaman and the high priests did also maintain order in the church. Yea, even for the space of 4 years did they have much peace and rejoicing in the church. And it came to pass that there were many who died, firmly believing that their souls were redeemed by the Lord Jesus Christ. Thus they went out of the world rejoicing. And there were some who died with fevers, which at some seasons of the year were very frequent in the land, but not so much so with fevers, because of the excellent qualities of the many plants and roots which God had prepared to remove the cause of diseases, to which men were subject by the nature of the climate. But there were many who died with old age, and those who died in the faith of Christ are happy in him, as we must needs suppose. I like this, that it seems that Amalickiah was trying to pull off a kind of coup, get his followers in each town, kind of have a vote to make him king, but not tell anybody else that they were voting, kind of thing, kind of a secret vote. And then have it spread about that the people had appointed him king. Moroni counters this by going through every town, saying, look, get together, oppose him, show him that you are not for this. And so Amalickiah sees that he doesn't have enough people to pull off this coup. And so he takes, who will still follow him. At this point, when his followers see that most of the people are against them, a lot of the followers of Amalickiah decide, well, maybe they're right. Maybe Amalikiah is not the one to follow. And so Amalickiah takes all those who will go with him to go to the Lamanites. Moroni heads them off And Amalickiah abandons his army. They don't fight. There's no battle here. Amalickiah abandons his army, and he takes his inner circle of loyal followers, and they escape. Moroni takes the rest of the army. And I like this. You covenant to defend the freedom of the people? We're good. But few refused to take the covenant. Which means there were some who refused to take this covenant. They were abandoned by Amalickiah, but they still were loyal to his cause. Now we also see that Moroni had great authority here. He had, but it mentioned its authority over the army. And so when he takes the army of Amalickiah captive, he has the authority to try and execute them, because they are a military thing. That is a military, or as prisoners of war. He has the authority over them. These weren't civilians that he was trying in a civilian court. These were prisoners of war, enemy soldiers. And he had authority to deal with them as he saw fit. And this was how he did it. Now we get a number of years of peace, and we will see how things go from there. So I will leave that here, and we will see where it goes. I'll see you there.